Toronto's new refugee capacity plan is highlighting the need for changes to the existing shelter system, which over the last couple of years has been overwhelmed by the influx of newcomers to the city. We spoke with one woman who says she was lucky to find space and help when she first arrived, but there are still gaps that need to be addressed.
My face just went down and I didn't know what to do.
That was Brooke Chichaibalu's first impression when she arrived in Toronto from Ethiopia a couple of years ago with two babies by her side. Happy to be safe after fleeing her country, but before anything else, desperate to find a place to sleep.
I know that the help offered is need-based here, but as a newcomer, we don't even know what we need at that point. We're confused. All we care about at that time is being safe, right?
Thankfully, she found a safe haven at Matthew House, a private shelter run on donations and grants from government, unlike thousands caught up in the backlog of shelter spaces in the city.
Giving out information, that's the one thing I didn't have at first. So that makes everything complicated. I don't know where I would go. I didn't know what to do.
At this point, the city is proposing a new refugee referral center be established, along with the creation of new emergency shelters. While Chichaibalu has since found her way with a place to live while going back to school, she says change for others can't happen soon enough.
I'm very much hopeful, but still skeptical at the same time, because as we've talked about, it's one thing to plan, and I know numbers have increased, like refugees and immigrants coming to Canada are overwhelmingly increasing, right? So I don't know if it really can accommodate those.
The new refugee plan is being presented at tomorrow's Economic and Community Development Committee at City Hall. Later in the newscast, you'll hear more from support organizations and why they feel more needs to be done sooner for newcomers to the city. It's a plan that proposes changes to Toronto's shelter system and the creation of a refugee referral center for those arriving in the city and country for the first time. For those helping newcomers settle in, the new refugee capacity plan at City Hall could be a good thing, but there are fears that the immediate needs won't be met. For those arriving in Toronto for the first time, it's a place to call home, at least for a short time. Matthew House welcomes 80 new refugees every year, but they say the city is overwhelmed and more help is needed.
I've been working now for 30 years with refugees, and I've never yet seen a comprehensive plan. And it's not like refugees are going to stop coming.
A new refugee capacity plan is being presented at City Hall to try and find ways to support the thousands of people arriving from elsewhere every year. It's been in the works for more than a year and a half, during which time the numbers have increased dramatically. In 2018, more than 55,000 refugee claims were made in Canada.
I think the report recommends a number of steps that we could take as a city, including, for example, having a referral center that helps us to deal with the wonderful agencies that have done so much good work to help us settle people and look after them during the initial period that they're here.
The City of Toronto has previously reported almost 40% of people in shelters are refugee claimants. Last year, hundreds were put up in college dorms before being moved to other locations, including a hotel near Pearson Airport.
What we don't want to happen is that this plan gets approved and it sits on a table and it never happens. So it's just a plan that never gets implemented.
Critics say the new plan may offer some strategy, but there isn't much in the way of implementation for things like the 24/7 referral center, especially in the short term.
Our only frustration is that we don't see that as being one of the primary areas, to immediately invest time and energy, and we would really love to see that high on the agenda of the city.
As a result, places like Matthew House will only be open to a lucky few. The new refugee plan is being presented at the city's Economic and Community Development Committee tomorrow. Some support organizations are expected to attend to offer their concerns.